Good morning. My name is Christina, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to properly perform the snatch exercise. The snatch exercise is one of two Olympic lifts that you see in weightlifting. This movement begins with the barbell on the floor, and then the athlete will move that barbell from the ground to overhead in one fluid and continuous motion. When this movement is performed correctly, you can sometimes see athletes lifting almost double their body weight, if not more. But that's after years of practice and proper mechanics. So it's very important that from the beginning, we teach a novice lifter or a novice athlete the correct way to move through. Some of the objectives we're going to use today include the degrees of freedom concept. Now that's going to include freezing some of the joints in place while we focus on other parts of the body. And you'll see that later in the video. We're also going to focus on the importance of feedback. So we'll be using, as coaches, external feedback, offering knowledge of results and knowledge of performance to tie together with that athlete's internal feedback while they're using their proprioceptive sensors in order to look or feel what that lift should feel like and understand those mechanics. And you'll also see that later on in the video. So here's an example of what a snatch exercise should look like. The proper execution of the snatch allows the lifter to land in a squat position with their hips below the crease of the knee. First, the lifter will get into a setup position with their hands wide on the barbell and their feet positioned underneath the hips in a squat position. Their shin angle and back angle should be relatively the same with their shoulders over the barbell. When the lifter is set, the movement begins by pushing their feet into the ground and lifting the barbell with hips and shoulders rising together until the bar passes the knee. Once the bar passes the knee, the lifter will pull the bar back to meet the hips while pushing their chest away from the floor to achieve a more vertical position, still keeping the knees slightly bent to allow for power production in the final pull. In the third phase, the lifter reaches full extension of the ankle, knee, and hip joints, forcefully driving the barbell overhead while changing direction to pull their body underneath the bar into the catch position. From here, they stand to full extension and complete the movement, bringing their feet back underneath the center of the body to complete the lift. For today, we're going to have the learner go through the power snatch. Power snatch requires a little bit less mobility than the full squat snatch. So in the beginning phases of learning, we usually introduce this movement first. So I'm going to start off by freezing the degrees from the waist down so that the learner can understand how to move through the top part of the movement. And then from there, we'll progress all the way back down to the start position. So I'm going to have the learner grab the barbell. The first thing we're going to do is have her stand tall with her feet underneath her hips. That's a foot position. And the hands are going to be nice and wide. And that bar should cross right about where her hip crease is. This is going to always be the hand grip position for the snatch. First thing I'm going to have her do is going to shrug and release. So the first movement, without moving any part from the waist down, she's just going to shrug and release. So go, shrug, release, one more time, shrug and release. Building on that, we're going to have her then shrug, high pull, and then release. So go ahead, shrug, high pull, release. Bar's nice and close to the body, one more time. Good. And then the next part of the movement, I'm just going to build on that again. Shrug, high pull, and then she's going to turn the bar over, and I want you to press into the ceiling. Keep the arms nice and straight. Go. You can see the movement. Her hips aren't moving. Go ahead and do one more. Her legs are staying nice and straight. Turn to the side. We'll do one more. Good. So from this position, no movements happening from the legs down. We're just learning from the waist up. Go for one more time. Good. And now what I'm going to have her do is add a little bit of extension. So this is going to add some power into the movement. So from here, same position start. I'm going to have her take a 1 to 2 inch dip down. Stay there. And then from here, she's just going to extend, shrug, high pull, and punch. Go. One more time. Reset. Good. Just a little bit of extension added in. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to flip. So you're going to have her put the barbell down, and then we're going to work on footwork. So we're freezing now the degrees from the waist up. So no upper body movement, just lower body. I'm going to have her stand with her feet underneath her hips. So a little closer. And then from this position, I'm going to have her take that same position squat. She's going to jump, extend, and then re-land in that squat position. Her feet will shift out just a few inches. So go ahead in the squat. Go. Good. So this is now ingraining the footwork into her body. Same thing. Jump. Good. That was a good one. Do another one. Go. Great. So now what we're going to do is take the two pieces and put this together. Normally I'd have the athlete do about 5 to 10 reps of each movement before we progress to make sure they understand. So I'm gonna have her grab the barbell, and we're gonna do all these next movements from the side so you can see. So same hand grip position, feet start underneath the hips into that same squat position. So now we're gonna put the footwork and the upper body movements together. Ready, go. And now she's done the power snatch. You can notice she's landing in that same squat position. She's landing with her arms locked out. That's a high hang power snatch position. One more time. Good, great. And then as the athlete starts to integrate, we're gonna put a little bit more emphasis on making the movement harder. So from here, I'm now gonna have her in that same position. She's gonna load her hips, push her hips backwards, load her hamstrings, let the bar slide down to her knee. From this position, we're gonna pull slowly to the hip, and then she's gonna jump and explode up just like she would before and finish in the snatch. Go. Great, that was great. You wanna switch barbells? Switch barbells and then do that one. We're gonna add a little bit more weight. Good, so same position. So I'm gonna have her do one more from that hang position. So down into that hang, good. And from there, it's a slow pull to the hip and then a snatch. Good. And the last thing we're gonna do to incorporate the snatch as a whole, I'm gonna have her go all the way down to the start position and we're gonna fix that. So I'm gonna have her shift her hips back, all the way down. Once the bar passes the knee, she's gonna lower the hips a little bit more. Good, and then from there you can see her shoulders in front of the bar, her hips are nice and low, the angle of the back and the shin is similar, and from that position, she's gonna do the same thing. Pull nice and slow to the knee, pull nice and slow to the hip, jump, and explode. I'm gonna get out of her way before I get knocked out. And she's gonna do one more. So go ahead from the same start position. Good, squeeze the shoulder blades, hips drop, nice and slow all the way, and then jump and power snatch. Okay, you can take a break. So from this position, what she can do to improve to eventually get to a squat snatch is she can start to land a little bit lower in her squat position. She can also practice other drills like drop snatches, snatch pull unders, and other speed drills to incorporate getting a little bit more progressive in the snatch. As the learner moves through each phase, it's important that we're giving them feedback, both internally and externally. Internally, the athlete's going to be able to start to understand how that movement should look and feel using different muscle timing, which muscles are going to be engaging, and things like the sequence of events, right? So they're going to understand that they need to jump before they pull. They're going to understand that they need to pull and then punch. Things like that are going to happen in order. Now, externally, we're going to be giving them feedback, making corrections both before and after the movement. Now, in terms of proprioception, if you think about balance, if you close your eyes with your arms at your side, you're going to know that your arms are there, right? And that's essentially what proprioception means. It's your brain telling your body where it is in space. So as the learner is moving through these different phases, they're going to continuously be able to feel those pieces tie together. And all we're doing as coaches or teachers is just tying our external feedback in to assist with their internal feedback so it matches up and makes sense to the learner. So during the process of learning the snatch, I'm going to be providing this learner with a little bit of external feedback to assist with the intrinsic feedback that she's going to be feeling during the movement. So what I have her do is get into a startup position. So go ahead and sit up from the bottom. In this position, she should start to feel what that movement is supposed to look like. So I'm going to say, hey, go ahead and squeeze your shoulder blades together. You feel that? How you're active here in the lats? She's going to say yes. Or I'm going to have her shift the hips down just a little bit. You feel that? Drive your knees out. Okay, you feel that start position? Yes? Okay, good. So now from this position, she's starting to understand what that startup is supposed to look like. You can stand up from here. And the same thing's going to happen through the movement. So now I'm going to have her perform a full snatch. And then from this position, we're going to talk about that too. So go ahead and do one full from the ground, power snatch on your own. Good. Do you feel how that bar passed right by the front of your face?
Yeah.
Okay, so she's going to understand that the bar needs to stay close. If the bar goes away from her body, her body's going to shift and she's going to start to feel that. Today, I'm going to be using two different types of external feedback with the learner. You'll see knowledge of results as the performance-based outcome feedback that I'm giving to the learner so that they understand what the end result looks like. Here's an example of that feedback. On this rep, I'm going to have you jump. I want you to jump, explode, and then you're going to land with your arms locked out. That's your focus, right? Jump and land with your arms locked out to finish. Go. Good. That was good. I'm going to have you land in a full locked out position in a partial squat. That's going to be your ending stance. So go ahead and perform. Good. That was great. The second type of external feedback that you'll see in the video is knowledge of performance feedback. This is going to be given to the learner to focus more on the movement contributions that are going to end up leading to that end result. Here's an example of that style of feedback. Okay. All right, so on that last one, everything else went well. You just pressed out a little bit in your lockout. So on your next rep, I want you to focus on locking your arms out straight to the ceiling as you land. Okay. Much better. Good. Okay. All right, so on that last rep, you lifted your hips a little bit too early. So I'm gonna have you drop your hips, push your chest away from the floor first, so you rise at the same time. Okay. So focus on dropping your hips and then pushing your chest away as you stand up. Much better. Okay. Both types of feedback are extremely important in the initial learning phases for that athlete. It's going to enforce proper mechanics and also encourage effective skill transfer later on to other movements. That's it for the snatch today. Thank you for your time. I hope you learned something new.